Everyone, how you doing? Who's managing to keep going? Who's still up? Well, presumably any of you who answer, you're still up. Well done, night owls. I've seen some of you. Someone said you're recording it and you're going to watch it in the morning. That's curious. I have to say, we're watching Sky's coverage. I'm finding Sky's coverage a very sort of engaging affair. Andy Burnham is in like Rottweiler mode. If you've got Sky, head over to Sky. You've got Kay Burley, Rottweiler. Then you've got Andy Burnham, Rottweiler. You're watching Channel 4, Anna Catherine. So, how many results have we got in so far? We've got 9 seats have come in, all Labour. Most of them Labour holds, one of them a Labour gain. We've talked on the last live about the intriguing development of Reform and the Conservative vote when combined being equivalent to, or not far from, the Labour vote. Hi, Anna Catherine. Hi, Mudan Ali. Some interesting statistics, though. The turnout is down across all of the seats that have come in. You're looking at around 55% turnout. If you think about that, 55% turnout means that 55% of all the people who could vote have chosen to vote. That's not very many, is it? I mean, again, think about this word democracy. 55%. We're only just over half of all the people who are eligible and are registered to vote have voted. And then of that half, only half in most of the seats that have come through that are Labour safe holds, only half or shy of half have voted for Labour. So you can see how even, with a landslide, even with a so-called landslide, it doesn't represent everyone, does it? Anyway, so at the moment, Labour are still projecting a 410 seats. That's a 270 majority. The turnout at the moment is 55.2%, and that is that's nearly 7% down on the last election. You're right, Carol A. Smith. It is a dreadful turnout. And what that speaks to, as they've mentioned very briefly, is a total disenchantment, a total hello, Mark, at what point does a low turnout make it invalid or make it invalids? That speaks to a total disenchantment with politics. So once again, you're going to have Starmer, all tickety-boo, standing there saying he's got a mandate when his majorities in many places is going to be small. And his majorities are only going to be small because essentially the right-wing vote has been split by Reform and the Conservatives. You're going to have some of the kind of marginal seats or margin seats where Labour are struggling, like in Birmingham, in Bradford, in Rochdale, in Luton, in all those areas. You're going to have a number of candidates who are obviously fighting much more on the Gaza, Israel ticket, principally due to the Muslim populations, and likewise with us, we haven't voted Labour for this very reason. So it's hardly a mandate, is it? It's hardly a mandate. And as I say, those majorities are going to be small. And what the problem with this is, oh my God, and one thing that I've just been reminded of, Rachel Reeves. If Keir Starmer isn't boring enough, I made some notes here. Rachel Reeves was on Sky. She is like she's more of an automaton than any other. She's going to be our Chancellor. She just kept saying, we are going to work with businesses. We are going to commit to what says in the manifesto. We are here to commit to change. We're going to make sure that what we do is fairer for everyone. She literally bored me rigid. Rachel Reeves has possibly stratospherically shot up to the most boring politician in British politics. And what a shame, because she's going to be the first female She's so MOANING, is she on? She's so boring. And I know when one says it's boring, I know you're going to say it, Michu, it's not about personality. You've got to have some personality. There is no personality, no personality. She was a broken record full of platitudes. You can't keep trotting out platitudes. We are going to make sure that there's change and we're going to... I mean, a conversation between her and Keir Starmer would be like one didgeridoo listening to another didgeridoo. In other good news, it looks like Jeremy Corbyn, it went from too difficult to call. There is the suggestion that's being reported in The Guardian that Corbyn could have won his seat by just 1,500 votes. I am going to be so thrilled with that. It almost makes me want to, if he had a party, but he doesn't, he's an independent, makes you want to I want to almost make amends. I feel like I want to make amends to Corbyn, and I don't know how. Maybe by sticking that on my forehead, like that, so that everyone knows Corbyn's going to... I'd love it. I love it if Corbyn wins. And if you weren't here for the earlier live, there's also the possibility that given that it's such a low turnout, given that Labour's majorities are going to be slim, given that as many people combined in many of these seats voted for Reform and Conservatives added together, there is a distinct possibility that Corbyn in 2019 received more votes in terms of proportion of the British population than Starmer is even going to get for this landslide. That tells you what a cock and bull democratic system this is. How can one guy win 410 seats with fewer votes from fewer people? MOANING, Corbyn has been treated badly. At least I feel like I can say I joined the Labour Party and voted him in. Harrogate, Liberal Democrat gain, that's good. That's just come in, yeah, Harrogate and Knaresborough. Let's have a look at the stats on this. I mean, the biggest stats, the Reform Party is skewing younger. The Reform Party was skewing younger. Many of those, the Conservatives don't have younger voters. They're virtually non-existent. In fact, earlier tonight, they had the only Johnson sibling who I can listen to. Is it Joe Johnson or John? I think not Boris, not his sister. I think it's Joe Johnson. He's great. He's level-headed. He's calm. He's a sort of liberal conservative. And Joe Johnson, he was talking about the Conservatives' need to speak to younger people. He said, we have no young people. Apparently it's into single digits, the amount of young people who vote Conservative. But huge numbers, huge. I liked him, me too, in Conservative terms. But Andy Burnham is just, I see why Nadia's charmed by him. He's just fantastic. He's got twinkly eyes, fabulous eyebrows, and he goes for people he's more like a Jack Russell, actually. So Joe Johnson was talking total sense. If Joe Johnson was the Conservative Party, I think they would get more younger voters. Reasonable, rational, realistic, etc., etc. But the Reform Party is skewing young. And Nigel Farage has already gone onto Twitter. He's posted on X, formerly Twitter, saying that he thinks that Reform are going to score something like 6 million votes. Now imagine 6 million votes, but you only end up with 6 MPs. Compelling argument for proportional representation. And the weird thing is, the only situation, this might be the only moment in British political history where the Conservative Party could find themselves needing and desiring a sort of vested interest in proportional representation because they're going to be so diminished with the prospect of Reform building on this at the next election, and with the prospect of more and more younger people naturally being drawn to Reform. The Conservatives may find themselves needing proportional representation too. So I think Andy Burnham's right. I think proportional representation could well come in. The one party it's not going to be of interest to is Labour, because of course they can have a landslide. Now this landslide, is it going to be really going to be a landslide? What I'm really interested in seeing tonight are those seats where the Gaza question is going to be front and centre. They're in Birmingham, Lancashire, Luton, Rochdale. Even my mum's borough, Tower Hamlets. Is it Tower Hamlets, mum, or Poplar? There's going to be some, and down in Brighton where Tanushka is, those seats are going to be interesting to see if they, the Gaza question also eats into that Labour support. So for me, the headline tonight really is, and this is quite satisfying because I find Starmer an objectionable snake who says what he thinks people wants to hear, when challenged, says nothing. And I just feel that it's kind of encouraging that, people aren't necessarily voting for him. The vote has been kind of split all over the place. And really, Labour are going to do well because of reform conservative schism, basically. I mean, really, Nigel Farage is the reason. He's a centrist goon, says Unforeseen. Nigel Farage splitting the Conservative vote, but in a sense, you could argue it wasn't really Nigel Farage splitting the Conservative vote; it was the Conservatives splitting their own vote, if you like, is what's leading to the Labour victory. Bridget M. This episode in British politics reminds me of the Blackadder episode, Dish and Dishonesty. I don't remember that particular episode. The smart move for Labour is to load the HOL quickly. House of Lords, get votes at 16, pass so England has parity with Wales and Scotland. Well, that's one of the things that they're saying, isn't it? Yeah, if they get the younger voters in, but I don't think the younger voters will necessarily vote for Labour. I think the much younger voters, all the 16, 17 and 18-year-olds I know, me too, will vote Green. They won't vote Labour. I think Green for Labour is the same danger for the youngest generations as reform is to the Conservatives. I think Labour runs the risk of being seen as fuddy-duddy, especially with Starmer standing there, talking like this, and with Rachel Reeves talking. I'm sorry, I'm beginning to think these people are AI. Rachel Reeves is already so generic. She's frightening. There's no human in there. There's no human in there. It's literally no human in there. It's AI, but it's the most impersonal AI. I mean, I cannot bear listening to her. Rachel Reeves and then Keir Starmer talking absolutely. I mean, the only thing I do like, Angela Rayner is the only one for me who's personable. She's personable. You feel she's real. Earlier tonight, she was standing with an umbrella. Kiki asked the killer question, why doesn't she just go inside? Yeah, Lib Dems have just gained Harrogate and Knaresborough. I'm just looking at the statistics. So the big news here is the size of the surge towards reform. The margin of success for the Labour Party. I mean, they're going to want to turn this into just a landslide, and it doesn't matter how we won each one, but it kind of does matter when you look at the numbers. Add up the other candidates in each seat, and it doesn't look good for Labour, I don't think. Not in terms of Labour wanting a 10-year. They're talking about a 15-year plan. And the other problem, we were mentioning this much earlier, a lot of young people opting for reform too, you're absolutely right. And I was mentioning this earlier, I think a lot of the problems in the country can only be resolved beyond 5 years, 5 to 10 years. And the pressure on the Labour Party is the speed, however fast they run at it, is it going to be fast enough for the electorate that's already turning to reform to feel that they're being heard enough? And you know what my worry is? No amount of best intentions nor speedy action will get the Labour Party to do some of its more radical things in time to kind of placate an appetite for turning towards someone like Nigel Farage, who says he can do absolutely everything for you, while smoking a great big cigar and drinking a pint at Witherspoons. Do you get me? So anyway, so for me, I'm most interested in the Gaza skewing seats. Of course, Jeremy Corbyn being one of the key ones. I'll be delighted if Jeremy Corbyn holds on to his seat. I think that would be brilliant. I don't know, fires you up this though, doesn't it? When you look at people like Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer, you think, doesn't it make you want to, and then it makes you want to become a bloody politician, doesn't it? Anyway, if I'm still up at some stupid hour o'clock and I have any vague possibility, and there's a massive dramatic something or other happens, like Keir Starmer suddenly expresses an emotion, then maybe we'll go live again. Keep sharing your thoughts below. If I don't see you again later tonight, we'll definitely see you in the morning.